G'day everyone, thanks for joining me again. I hope you're all going well. In this video, I'm going to show you something that I've been experimenting with, and that is using pink noise to calibrate my guitar cabinet simulation software. So let's get into it. Okay, here we are. We've got Reaper loaded up, and inside Reaper, we've got this fantastic cabinet simulation software called Mikko by ML Sound Lab. Mikko is the name of the plugin. It also happens to be the name of the guy who developed the plugin as well. So let's not get too confused. Look, in my humble opinion, and this is in no way a paid endorsement, but this cabinet simulation software is my personal favorite. I absolutely love this plugin. It's so flexible. The impulse responses that Mikko has captured in creating this plugin they're just phenomenal. They sound so good. And so I've been experimenting, and the experiment that I've been running has been trying to, I guess, calibrate the speaker cabinet using some sort of reference signal that I know that I can depend upon, something that I know I can rely on all the time. And for me, that happens to be pink noise. So what I'm going to do is run through how I do that. And, this is going to be an experiment just like every other time that I've done it. Every time I do this, the sounds I get are different, but I really haven't got a bad sound out of this. So, instead of just pulling up one that I've, spent ages on sort of dialing in for you, I'm going to do one live and we'll see how it all goes. So in the plugin here, I'm just going to run through a couple of settings first of all. This is how the plugin loads up by default. Now, over in this section here, we've got basically an impedance section, and that's the amplifier or the power amplifier that Mikko used to run the cabinets in order to capture the IRs. Now, the tone that I'm going to go for today is more of an 80s rock sort of sound. So I know that more than likely out of the three options that we've got, which is a combo power amp, a UK 4x12 or a US 4x12, I pretty well know I'm going to go for the UK 4x12 option. What we've got also here is a low resonance and high resonance pair of knobs. And in one of the videos that Mikko made, and he was explaining these parameters here, is that he said that when they're set to 100%, that's the actual, I guess, the reference point for how that power amp was actually captured. So I'm going to start with those values at 100%. As you can see, we can make it less or we can make it more. I'm going to start at 100. Start at 100, and then I will tweak that once I get the cabinet a little bit more dialed in. We've also got a low cut and a high cut pair of filters here. So basically, because we're dealing with guitar cabs and I'm going for that 80s rock sort of standard tuning vibe, I'm going to basically low cut my guitar cab at around 80 hertz and high cut my guitar cab at about 8.5K. Right here, the next thing I want to do is choose my actual speaker, and I have purchased the Mikko Essentials pack, as well as a couple of other packs specific for this plugin. And I'm going to use the Marshall 4x12 greenback speaker, because I think that's going to be the best speaker that's going to get me closest to this 80s hard rock kind of sound. I'm also going to start with a Dynamic 57, which is an emulation of a Shure SM57. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this pink noise generator through the Mikko plugin. Now, what you'll notice here is I've got another pink noise generator set up here. I'm going to quickly turn that one on because this is the one that's not affected by the cabinet. And so what that does is that just sort of helps calibrate my ears to actual pink noise. And then I'll turn that one off, run this generator through the plugin, and I just sort of try to remember the reference. And I'm not trying to copy because that's going to, that's defeating the purpose of running through a speaker cabinet. But it just sort of resets my ears a little bit. So I'm just going to quickly give this a little burst. Okay, that's fresh in my mind now. And we've got microphone number 1 set up here. I'm going to bring the radius all the way to the center. And let's just start moving this microphone around. The beauty about this plugin is we can move this plugin all over the speaker cone. He's captured so many IRs for each speaker and each microphone. It's absolutely a beast of a plugin, and I just love it. We can also pan the microphones, give them certain phase relationships, and adjust the distance as well. The distance being that if this is the speaker here and this is the microphone, 0 would be closest to the speaker, and then as you increase the distance, you're actually pulling the microphone further away from the speaker. So let's run some pink noise through this puppy and see how we go. So I'm going to start from the very edge of the speaker, and I'm going to bring that slowly more into the center to a point where I think the sound is most ideal for me. So that's getting really bright and high-end and harsh there. So I'm going to bring it back and just give it a bit of warmth. We're around about there, I reckon. Now I'm going to come across to this angle, and this angle is basically going to allow me to move the microphone around the speaker like that. Okay, I think around about there is where I like the sound the most. The next thing I'm going to do is play with the distance. So you can hear that tonality change as I'm moving the microphone virtually away from the speaker. I think I like around about that 4 inches away from the speaker there. So that's pretty much my first microphone. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a second microphone. Now with this plugin, you can actually add up to 9 microphones, and those microphones can be different speaker types as well. So you can actually blend different microphones with different speakers, and you can have up to 9 of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with the same speaker. I'm going to add another microphone. Let's just mute that for the moment. I want to make it the same speaker type, and I do want this Ribbon 121 microphone. So that's emulating a Royer 121. Once again, I'm going to move that microphone right out to the edge. What I'm going to do with this one straight away is I'm going to make it the same distance off the speaker as the first microphone. And I'm going to flip this microphone 180 degrees out of phase with the first microphone. The reason why I'm doing that is what we will hear is the difference between the 2 microphones, so the frequency differences. Now the idea is it's going to sound really bad, and my goal is to make it sound as bad as possible. And the reason for that is when I then flip the microphones back in phase with each other, what we're left with is the good stuff. So that's the theory. Let's see if it works. So that sounds quite hollow and empty around about there. I'm just going to move around the speaker a little bit, see if I can find a nastier sound. I guess I'm after something that's as hollow and kind of lifeless as possible. You can hear the volume really dip out there. And that's another sign that these microphones are really out of phase with each other. I reckon maybe about there. I've moved this microphone around a little bit. It's 180 degrees out of phase at the moment. What I'm going to do is put it back in phase with microphone number 1, activate these two. So that's the first microphone. That's the second microphone. What I'm going to do now is with this second microphone is I'm just going to adjust its volume a little bit. And just blend it in with this first one here. So if I mute this second microphone, we can hear that this microphone has a lot of, it's a lot of high-end presence. It's fairly flat across the range. When I bring this one in, it warms everything up a little bit. Now I'm going to come across to these low res and high res parameters here and just play with that a little bit. So real subtle differences there, just adding a little bit of high end, taking a little bit of the low end thump away. Okay, and in a nutshell, that's pretty much my cabinet sound dialed in. Now, as I tried to explain before, I'm using pink noise. Number one, it's a consistent noise. It's something that I know is reliable and repeatable, but I wanted some sort of signal that could hit the speaker cabinet that wasn't the amplifier. So the idea is I want to try and get the speaker cabinet sounding as good as possible, and then I'm going to bring my amplifier in, which might seem a little bit backwards, but let's see how we go. So what I'm going to do is quickly grab my guitar, we'll plug in, and we'll see how it sounds. Okay, we're back, and what I've got is, first of all, my trusty Music Man Luke guitar with EMG pickups loaded in it. Nothing's more 80s rock than EMG pickups. The guitar amp simulator I'm going to use for this is THU by Overloud. And in their guitar replay, you can actually purchase different types of packs. And I happen to have the ADA MP1 pack loaded up here. So let's turn her on and see how it sounds. Sounds pretty 80s rock to me. Look, I'm quite happy with that. What I really like is just the sort of the sound of that cab. It's almost like I can hear the air around the microphone a little bit, that low resonance. Got that nice little bit of thump there, the string definition. It's really great. And, you know, I haven't even tweaked the amp yet, you know. This is where I seem to be having some really good success with this method. So look, I'm going to leave this video here for now, guys. In part 2 of the video, what I'm going to do is we're going to actually start to dial in the amp a little bit more. We're going to process this guitar sound as if it was being recorded in the studio, and then we're going to test it out in a mix. So at the end of the day, that's where, you know, that's where the proof's in the pudding. How well does it stand up in a mix? So I hope you can join me for that one. Once again, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to leave me a comment as well. You know, what did you think of this method? Did you think it was cool, different, interesting? Did you think it was a complete waste of time? Oh, well, you know, let me know. I thought it was, I think it's been a pretty fun little experiment, and I'm going to keep trying to develop this a little bit. Like I said, so far, I haven't really pulled a bad sound using this, which is pretty impressive. And every single time it's been a little bit different. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the next one.